This is Arkies in the Beltway, your look at national politics and the Arkansans influencing the discussions. I'm Alex Thomas, Washington correspondent for the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, reporting from the nation's capital. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Arkies in the Beltway for the week of October 5th, 2025. The House of Representatives did not have any legislative business on its calendar last week, yet Representative Steve Womack of Rogers was at the U.S. Capitol. The congressman traveled to Washington, D.C. as other House members, including his fellow Arkansans, spent the second week of a scheduled district work period back in their home states. From his Capitol Hill office last Tuesday, Womack watched the Senate fail to advance legislation funding the federal government, allowing a government shutdown.
It pains me to know that during a shutdown that we're just incapable of executing work that is, I think, very important to the American people. And I think the people are going to get frustrated by it as well.
The government shutdown will continue this week as Republicans and Democrats are unable to agree on not just funding the government, but also the future of health care programs. Democrats have called on Republicans to extend premium tax credits for health insurance purchased through the Affordable Care Act marketplace. As Womack mentions, these subsidies expire at year's end.
While I know that's close, it's 3 months away, the immediate impact right now is we need to keep the government operational so we can continue to work on appropriations.
Before the House left Capitol Hill on September 19th, the chamber approved a continuing resolution funding the federal government through November 21st. Republicans control the House as well as the Senate, but the Senate's rules require 60 votes for advancing most legislation. The House's funding measure has yet to reach that threshold, and the Senate has rejected a Democratic alternative combining a continuing resolution with an extension of the tax credits and other Democratic Party priorities. Republicans and Democrats have been pointing fingers at each other for allowing the shutdown to happen. The White House and several government agencies blame, quote, the radical left. During a floor speech last Tuesday, Senator Tom Cotton of Little Rock said Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is responsible for the funding lapse.
The House of Representatives passed a simple bill with no partisan tricks or poison pills. Yet for the second time this year, the second time in barely 6 months, we again find ourselves on the cusp of a Schumer shutdown.
Schumer faced criticism in March for voting to advance a 6-month continuing resolution from his GOP colleagues. Senator John Boozman of Rogers says Republicans were willing to support continuing resolutions during Joe Biden's presidency. So Democrats need to do the same now with Republican Donald Trump in office.
Republicans supported Democrats when they were in charge in an effort to keep the government running. Then you figure these things out. But this isn't the way to do it at all.
Boozman and Womack are senior congressional appropriators responsible for drafting annual spending legislation. The House Appropriations Committee has approved all 12 bills, but the full Senate and House remain on different tracks when it comes to sending these measures to the White House. The effects of a government shutdown may not be obvious to many Arkansans at first. Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security are considered essential programs, so the shutdown will not have any significant impact. Veterans continue to receive their benefits. The U.S. Postal Service is an independent entity. Its services will not be interrupted. The Department of Agriculture will support nutrition assistance programs as long as federal dollars remain available. So, what exactly does a government shutdown mean? Federal agencies pause all non-essential services and place these workers on furlough until the White House and Congress approve a plan. Among the programs deemed non-essential during a government shutdown, help with processing agriculture disaster aid, and farm loans. The U.S. Office of Personnel Management reports around 14,300 federal workers reside in Arkansas. Those employees considered essential, including air traffic controllers and people involved in national security, work without pay. Boozman says government shutdowns keep both public employees and the American public hostage until a deal is reached.
We'll have all kinds of calls beginning pretty soon from elderly ladies that are in a situation where they're totally dependent on their Social Security. They get confused. They don't know if they're going to get it or not, all those kind of things. Right now, our service members aren't being paid. The list just goes on and on. So why do it?
Amid the battle on Capitol Hill, there is also the White House's interest in reducing the federal workforce. The Office of Management and Budget asked agencies to put together proposals to cut workers from programs and projects not happening during the shutdown. Womack describes this plan as potentially dangerous.
If you recall, we took extraordinary steps during Doge and some other events that trimmed the workforce, early buyouts, that kind of thing, and then have found out later that was not a wise move, and now rehiring some of those people.
Neither side seems interested in trying to end this stalemate. During a press conference last Wednesday with GOP leaders, Cotton said Republicans do not want to compromise with their Democratic colleagues.
The Democrats need to pass the House's 7-week funding bill.
Lawmakers will continue getting paid during the government shutdown. The Constitution mandates senators and House members receive compensation for their work. Representative French Hill of Little Rock has asked for his pay to be withheld until the White House approves a funding measure. The House was supposed to return to Capitol Hill this week, but House Republicans canceled all votes in the chamber, putting more pressure on the Senate. We are keeping an eye on the push to provide farmers with economic assistance. Operations in Arkansas and across the country face mounting financial pressure because of low crop prices, rising input costs, and changing international markets. President Trump has suggested using tariff collections to fund this relief. Senator Bozeman says colleagues in the White House agree farmers need help.
As I've said in the past, everything's on the table. We just need to work together to figure out a path so that farmers will get the aid that they need so that they can go to the banks, and figure out a way to be able to go ahead and get the financing they're going to need going into next year.
Bozeman leads the Senate Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry Committee. Republicans' One Big Beautiful Bill Act updates commodity reference prices and other agriculture programs, but these changes do not take effect until the second half of next year. As for the United States tariff policy, the Trump administration has celebrated and embraced these taxes, but companies have passed on these new costs to consumers, including farmers who rely on fertilizer and equipment produced overseas. And that'll do it for this edition of Arkies in the Beltway for the week of October 5th, 2025. You can stay up to date with all news involving Arkansas at arkansasonline.com. Special thanks as always to the team down in Little Rock. I'm Alex Thomas, and this has been Arkies in the Beltway. Thanks for listening.